Fabregas. Now it's Iniesta. This is it. That's the goal. Spain have surely won the World Cup.
We do it here. Cross and Dempsey's denied again. And Donovan has scored. Oh, can you believe this? Go, go, USA.
مهدی طارمی پشت محوطه جریمه. طارمی پاس برای سردار. گل! گل برای ایران. سردار آزمون دروازه بحرین رو باز میکنه.
What's he say? It's a really good goal. It's Shabalala. Goal! Bafana!
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another World Cup 2022 group preview. For this one, we are going with Group F. And joining me today is a fellow Chelsea fan, no one better to break down Belgium, Croatia, Morocco, and Canada. My man, Peter. Peter, thanks for joining me, man.
No problem. No problem. It's good to be here.
So let's get right into it. Group F. You know, I don't think there's a real group of death in this World Cup, but this one has two teams that made it to the semifinals of the last World Cup with Belgium and Croatia. Let's get right into it with Belgium. You know, this is their third straight tournament with Roberto Martinez in charge, right? Not the fourth. Yeah, third straight tournament. 2018 World Cup, the Euro Cup in 2021, and now this one. The golden generation of Belgium. So for those that don't know, I mean, I've been on the Belgium bandwagon since 2013. Since, you know, I mean, the Premier League was flooded with Belgians, and a lot of them were my favorite players. But as a Chelsea fan, I mean, Eden Hazard, obviously one of the greatest players in club history. We had Kevin De Bruyne come and slipped out of our grasp. He's gone on to have this amazing career. So many amazing players. We're not going to mention the goalkeeper I'm not going to mention him by name for this. Yeah, Belgium. A lot of expectations. The thing about their squad is, I mean, Eden Hazard's not really, he's at a decline. Give me your thoughts on Belgium going into this tournament. I feel like they're not as expected to win the whole thing as I would say going into 2018 or the last Euro Cup. Give me your thoughts on them. It seems like they're kind of on the decline, would you say?
I mean, if it's not now, it's not going to happen. Right?
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, they probably should have won in 2018. They lost the semifinal on a set piece. I figured whoever was going to win between France and Belgium was going to beat whoever was going to win between Croatia and England.
Yeah.
So, like, that's going to be their chance when they look back when they're 60 years old and realize they don't have a World Cup to their name. That's probably going to be why. But look, when you've got talent, like individual talents like Belgium do, in a tournament like this, it's 4 weeks. You're playing 6-7 fixtures. It's not like you're playing together for 9 months. You just need to be better than the people across from you 7 different times. You know, so like, do I think they're going to win it? No. But like, would I be shocked? Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I didn't bet on Belgium to win at like 6 plus 1,600 odds. That's 16 to 1, guys. That's good value. I don't know. So like, I put some money there. Hey, why not? Like $10 turns into 160. Gamble responsibly, people. If you do that, if that's your jam, go ahead. But as for their squad, I actually don't really mind them keeping the same group of players together, because at the same time, you're Belgium. You're not the other traditional Western European powers that can just churn out talent every couple of years.
Right.
So if you wonder, why is Timothy Castagne, why is Thomas Meunier still playing? It's like, well, they're Belgium. They're not France, really. You know, like a lot of Belgian players will go and play for France or go and play for other nations. So in terms of, you got to try and keep the golden generation together as long as you can. And yeah, Hazard's not really playing at all, so he's got no form. It's not that he's even in bad form. But hey, like, you don't really have other options. You know, you got to kind of go with the people who got you there. So I think they'll win the group. I don't think it will be super convincing. I actually think all of these games in this group are going to be a lot more competitive than people want to acknowledge. Because people just look at Belgium and Croatia like, oh, yeah, amazing. But, yeah, I mean, we'll get into the other two teams in the group. But, yeah, I don't think this is going to be a walk in the park for them.
As far as the golden generation you mentioned, I'd say their first tournament was the 2014 World Cup. They lost in the quarterfinals to Argentina in a 1-0 loss, and an amazing, I think it was Gonzalo Higuain, like half volley. And then 2016, I thought they had a better chance of winning that one, given that they'd had some tournament experience. And multiple defenders missed their quarterfinal game with injury against Wales, and they got upset pretty badly. That one was the one. If you look back at the tournaments, you know, you mentioned the loss to France. That was definitely their best chance. I totally agree. But, I mean, losing to France 1-0, is there any shame in that?
Yeah, you can't lose to that Wales team. I'm sorry. Like,
yeah, that's the one. The Wales one is the disappointing one.
Robson Kanu was a free agent and scored a goal on you in the quarterfinals of the Euros. Like, that can't happen.
That was a great goal, by the way.
It was, but like I remember watching, I'd be like, this is not happening. There's no way. But
And
no,
then,
yeah, it's definitely for them. Like, hey, just run it back. It can't go. Like, I don't see a scenario where they don't get out of this group. Funnily enough,
Yeah.
like barring like major injury, which unfortunately we've seen that be a storyline leading up to this kind of midseason World Cup. But yeah, I don't have super high expectations. That being said, who's in Group E? Just like off the top of your head, because
Group E
that's
is
the
the
one
one.
with
I'm pretty sure
Costa
that's
Rica,
Brazil's. No, that's
Sweden,
Spain and
Germany.
Germany's group.
Oh God, yeah. You know what? I can see why the Belgium odds were 16-1 then. Okay, because in theory, Belgium are playing either Spain or Germany in the next round.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, look. As far as the group games, I think they will be fine. I don't think we'll see a lot of clean sheets in this group, though. I will say that. I think we're in for goals, and I think we're in for entertainment. So I'm looking forward to it.
The last tournament we should mention, I thought when I was like in 2014, I said, I think the perfect tournament that they're going to be able to win is that 2020 Euro Cup. But what we didn't anticipate was the fall off of Eden Hazard. In 2018, he looked as good as basically any player in the world. He won, I think, the silver ball in the tournament right after Modric. He was unreal. 2019, his last season for Chelsea, he was literally electric, like dominated the Europa League final, did so many great things for us. And then since he's gone to Real Madrid, it's been constant injuries, constantly people saying he's out of shape, not consistent playing time. He has not looked nearly the same player in terms of taking players on one-on-one and just all the amazing things he used to do. Give us what's been up with him. I mean, obviously, as you said, he's not been playing, so we don't know what to expect. Would you even start him at this point?
I think you have to. Like,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Like, you kind of have to go down with what got you there. You know, I don't, because like look at their forward options, right? You think because they're gonna play this 3-4-3 kind of shape, you can't really justify playing Hazard's little brother and Trossard either side of what I'm assuming is going to be Lukaku. While you have Hazard on the bench, like he's the captain of the country, and he's probably their best ever player. Like, excuse me, anybody who watches this who knows some obscure Belgian footballer from 1970 who's better than Eden Hazard, but I can't think of them. Right? So it's like you kind of have to, like, for a certain status of player in a certain kind of country, it would be one thing if this was France and you had an out of form, let's say Paul Pogba. You could bench him and you could put a Chouameni and a Camavinga and someone else in midfield and be fine, reasonably, right? But this is Belgium. They don't have the pick of the litter in terms of players. So if your star players are out of form, then you kind of suffer, but you kind of have to play them, you know?
Yeah.
And like Martinez played him at Euro 2020 last summer.
What's funny is he actually started to look a little bit more like his old self in that tournament.
He played fine at the Euros, and he was still sitting on the bench at Madrid. So it's like, I don't think it matters too much that he's on the bench, personally.
Yeah, you mentioned the Euros. He was actually starting to look a little more like his old self. And then him and Kevin De Bruyne both got injured toward the knockout stage. De Bruyne still ended up playing that quarterfinal game to Italy where they lost to the eventual champs. They beat Portugal, though, in the round of 16. That was a good win. And, yeah, Eden Hazard didn't play in the quarterfinal, so that was disappointing. Missed out with injury. It's funny because seemed like he was getting a little bit of form back for his country, and then injury again. As far as Romelu Lukaku, we should talk about him because in that last tournament, he was coming off like the best season of his career in Inter. He was absolutely dominant, had his move to Chelsea lined up. And as we both know, that did not turn out as planned. I'm not going to lie. Part of the reason I don't really like Belgium the same anymore. Now, that being said, if Eden Hazard starts, I'm going full-on fanboy again. Go Belgium. But Lukaku was one of the people I really liked, and now he really left it was just a bad taste in my mouth the way he left Chelsea. Let me know your thoughts on him, how you think he's going to do in the tournament, and what's happened for him ever since he's had the whole departure with Chelsea, for people that don't know.
Look, man, I don't care too much for Lukaku. I don't hate him as much as some people do. I just don't think mentally he was ready to carry the weight of a club like Chelsea, to carry that on his shoulders. That being said, for Belgium, he plays ahead of Kevin De Bruyne and Hazard. So it's not that hard. Like, yeah, I've said this, Lukaku is going to probably break Cristiano Ronaldo's international goals record if he stays fit for the next 8 years of his career. Yes, I think he will. Or if he doesn't, he'll get really close. Like, if we make an international goals tally of all time, Lukaku's probably going to sit 4 or 5. and he'll be the worst player on that list, but it doesn't matter. He plays with De Bruyne, he plays with Hazard. He's going to have De Bruyne for probably another cycle at least. And you're in European qualifying, so you're playing a lot of smaller European nations, so you can stat pad. But at the same time, I'm never going to sit there and say Lukaku is one of the three most important players of this tournament. He's not. But as for getting to the group stage, I think he'll find some goals. I wouldn't be shocked to see Morocco or even a revamped Croatia team concede a couple goals to a Lukaku. It might be a thing where he leaves in the round of 16, but he leaves with 4 goals.
Yeah, I can see that as well. So let's just, before we move on, talk about some of these. I think the biggest question for me is at the back. A lot of these players, this is part of the reason why I thought the 2020 Euro would be a better chance for them to win than 2022, looking back at it years ago, because the defenders have gotten older. I mean, Vincent Kompany, this is the first World Cup in the last 3 that he's not going to be involved. He's done. He's retired. Toby Alderweireld, 33 years old. Jan Vertonghen, 35 years old. Even guys like Axel Witsel is a midfielder, 33 years old. No Fellaini, no Moussa Dembele. Still got guys like Yannick Carrasco, Dries Mertens. You mentioned Meunier. Thorgan Hazard, who's I would say in his prime. Also Michy Batshuayi is 29 years old.
Yeah, they don't have strikers.
What do you say?
They don't have strikers, so they have to take the same guys to all these tournaments.
So the last minute. Oh yeah. So let me your thoughts real quick on the back. You think they're going to be suspect at the back because they're older? You think those guys will still be able to?
Oh yes. This Belgian thing is going to be, we're going to outscore you. And in their defense, I would probably do the same. Right? We see a lot of national teams have blind spots that have better talent pools than Belgium do. You can say, why was Kompany, Alderweireld, and Vertonghen in back 3? It's those are the only reliable defenders they had really produced over the last decade. Even guys like Meunier or Castagna are very inconsistent just as players, in terms of form or fitness or both. It's, you can only kind of use what you got. They've been playing in the same template since Martinez took over. Maybe even, I'm forgetting probably even in 2016 with Mark Wilmots. I'm pretty sure they played this back 3 for forever. So they're going to just run with it. It's a bit of patchwork at the back, but yeah, they'll concede, but they'll probably outscore people.
You mentioned Martinez. Yeah, this is his 3rd tournament in charge, so at least they have experience with the manager. And then the last player we need to talk about, man, I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I mean, I'm wearing his jersey right now, but to me, when he's on and he's fully fit, maybe the best player anywhere, Kevin De Bruyne. Give me your thoughts on him, man. Do you think that's a hot take?
No. I have many hot takes about Kevin De Bruyne, but I'll save them for a different show.
Wow, you think he's overrated? No, come on, release it.
No, I don't think he's overrated. I think he's underrated. I think the way people hate Kevin De Bruyne is very forced and weird.
He's so good, man.
It's just because Kevin De Bruyne has pasty skin and he turns pink when he gets sweaty and he's ugly. That's it. That's why I think a lot of people hate him. It's nothing watch him play football and you're I don't understand what people don't like about this. Right?
I don't think I've ever met a Kevin De Bruyne hater before.
No, they exist in the weird corners of the internet. There's this weird overlap with people who think Paul Pogba is like Black Jesus, and then they also think Kevin De Bruyne is horrible. And it's I don't understand how we get there. But fair enough. Nah, De Bruyne, look, if he's on form, they'll get through this group. If something happens to him, they're screwed. It's that simple. I like Trossard. I like a little Hazard, but no. Let's be serious.
Okay, I was going to say KDB this season, man, already in double-digit assists, been tearing it up with Haaland. And for those that don't know, that's Erling Haaland, not the country Haaland. But Kevin De Bruyne, man, as you said, I mean, as complete as it gets, both feet. He can drive forward, shots from outside the box, set pieces, technical ability. The guy is so complete. It'll be interesting to see how he plays in this World Cup. He's had great tournaments in the past. Any last words on Belgium before we move on?
Just guys, don't be betting on clean sheets if you are a betting person in the World Cup.
Even though they have one of the best keepers in the world that just won a Champions League.
Doesn't matter. You're gonna see a lot of 3-1, 4-2 games.
You think Courtois is gonna have some games where he may just bail him out with the crazy shot stopping?
I mean, yeah, but he'll still concede. He'll make a bunch of saves. I hate him, but he's good. Yeah. But no, I'm trying to think. Last World Cup, they were in the group with
Panama, Tunisia, and England. Yeah,
they conceded to Tunisia and Panama. They won 6-1, but they still conceded.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't be surprised at all if they concede here. They conceded twice to Japan, twice to Brazil, and then one. Yeah,
once to Brazil.
Once to Brazil. They had one clean sheet all tournament.
Yeah.
Actually, I lied. They had two. They beat England 2-0 and then 1-0. Their clean sheets came against England, ironically enough. But
so let's move on to the runner-up from the last World Cup, Croatia. You know, they still have the same coach, Zlatko Dalic. I hope I'm saying that right. Yeah, Zlatko Dalic. And they have a couple of players that, or should I say players that are no longer with them. You know, Ivan Rakitic, Mario Mandzukic, Sime Vrsaljko. These players are not there anymore. 8 players, only 8 from the last World Cup. In the Euro Cup recently, they had an insane round of 16 game against Spain that they lost in extra time. I don't think anyone's expecting them to go all the way anymore. I think they're expecting them to get out of the group and not much more. Give me your thoughts on a slightly revamped Croatian squad, still featuring big names like Ivan Perisic, Dejan Lovren, Mateo Kovacic, who's been more involved for Chelsea or has been a Chelsea player since the last World Cup. I believe he was still Real Madrid last time around.
He was about to go on loan, but yes.
So we've seen Mateo Kovacic now, and I think he's with Rakitic gone, he's gonna have a much bigger role. Probably, I'd assume he'll start every game.
I would assume it'll be Brozovic, Kovacic, and Modric in midfield.
Yeah.
Maybe Pasalic plays in a midfield 3. I would assume a mixture of like Orsic, Perisic, and Pasalic out wide with Petkovic, the Zagreb striker, up top, because Mandzukic was like 34, I think, during the last World Cup, something like that. So yeah, it's weird. Like Croatia, they've got a lot of like under 23 players, and they've got their core of players who've been playing for the national team for almost a decade now. But they're kind of in the same boat that Belgium are, to like a more extreme sense, where their talent pool is just very limited. So you've got guys like Vida playing center back still, but then you've got like a young talented player like Gvardiol from Leipzig, right? Who's probably going to be a center back partner, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's interesting with Croatia. Like I think they've got the best midfield in the group, so I expect them to dominate the ball in all of their games, even when they're playing a Belgium. Belgium will sit deep and try and hit them on the break, which makes sense, right? My worry with Croatia is goals.
Mm-hmm.
That is my thing. In the last World Cup, Modric and Rakitic were chipping in from midfield, right? And Mandzukic was more of a focal point than I would anticipate Petkovic to be in this group. So I think they kind of have the opposite issue that Belgium have. I know Belgium could score. I just don't know about the other stuff. I think Croatia are a better set up team in terms of like tactically, they're more consistent day to day. But if you can't score goals in a 7-match tournament, it's only a month-long thing, then you're not going to really go anywhere. So no, I think Croatia will get through the group, but I would not be shocked if they're just so blunt up top that they don't.
You mentioned the midfield, and to close out on Croatia, we have to mention, I did not think he would have another World Cup in him, but this guy just doesn't seem to age. One of my favorite players, man, the Golden Ball winner at the last World Cup, Luka Modric, 37 years old, won another Champions League with Real Madrid and still looks insane. He's put his name with like at least to me, with like the Xavis, the Iniestas, the Pirlos, like he's in that class to me. I don't know.
Better than them, but we'll talk.
You think so? Wow.
Yeah.
So give me your thoughts on him.
Oh, like Modric it's the longevity, and it's also the level he's reached this late into his career. We can say Xavi, Iniesta, Pirlo. I hear all of that, guys. And like, obviously I respect all 3 of them, but Modric, he won a Ballon d'Or at 34 years old, 33, 34, something like that. He's 37 now, and he's still playing. It's funny because he's looked the same for the last 12 years. He doesn't really look like he gets older. Maybe it's the thin face and the long, like, weird, greasy hair, but like, fair enough. But there's not really much you need to say about him. Yeah, you would assume he would fall off as he gets older, and like one day that day will eventually come. But like for the next month, I think he'll be fine in the middle of the park. I think their midfield is one of the more underrated ones in the entire tournament.
Kovacic?
If Kovacic is good, if Kovacic can stay fit, they'll be fine. Brozovic is never injured, so I'm not worried about Brozovic in front of their back 4 at all.
Fair enough. Croatia, I probably will pick second in the group. Let's move on to Canada. This is a huge, huge deal for them to make a World Cup. They're obviously going to be joint hosting with us and Mexico in 4 years' time. They finished first in the hexagonal with 28 points in CONCACAF qualification. Also the highest goal difference, 23-7, a plus 16 goal difference. 8 wins, 4 draws, and 2 losses. What do you know about the Canadian team? Obviously, everyone knows about Alphonso Davies from Bayern Munich. Give me your thoughts on them.
For me, the thing with the Canadian team, because I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm familiar with a lot of the MLS-based players, but when we're talking people like Eustachio, you've got guys like Junior Hoylett, who I didn't even realize was Canadian.
Same. He's been around. He's been in the mix for a while in England.
Junior Hoylett has been like in the Championship and Premier League for like better part of a decade. I didn't even know he was Canadian until I saw him playing the US. It's like, oh, cool, that's nice. My thing with Canada, again, like it might be a tournament too soon for them, but hey, like experience on the world stage is better than nothing. Because on top of the fact that they're in the World Cup for 2026, that might be our first expanded World Cup, so the dynamics of the tournament are going to change. That's not really been confirmed, but it's been heavily linked. Might be our first 48-team World Cup. So for Canada, I wouldn't be surprised to see them kind of take the opposite approach to a Belgium, where it's just like, hey, we know, because, I like Jonathan David. I like the idea of Kyle Larin. But other than, like, I suppose they're better players than Bruno Petkovic, but, like, I don't think they're better than the Moroccan attackers. They're definitely not better than Belgium's front options. But with Canada, like we saw it in the Hex, granted the Hex is a different level of competition compared to what you'll see at a World Cup. If you have the ability to be defensively solid and compact, then in a tournament like this, you will do well. Like, good comparison would be Iran in the last tournament.
Mm-hmm.
If, who was it that they had a chance against Portugal in like the last second?
Taremi. I know, I remember.
It was Taremi hit it into the side of the net. It would have knocked it. But like, their whole thing is being solid and being consistent and just being defensively stout, right? So for Canada, I got to actually look at the fixtures real quick because I think Belgium, Canada is the opening match for both of those teams.
Yikes.
We have Morocco, Croatia, and Belgium. Canada played Belgium first. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't expect them to get anything from it. If they do, that'd be great. I'm all for
That'd be
chaos.
crazy.
Yeah, I'm all for chaos. Why not? Like with this World Cup, I want to see something that we've never seen before and something we'll probably never see again. I want to see a new winner, but I don't want it to be like Holland. I want it to just be a random country.
What about Belgium?
Nah, it's also kind of predictable because like when you think of teams that haven't won it but are like on the doorstep, you think of the Netherlands and you think of Belgium. I want to see just a random nation win it. Like, I'm not saying like Morocco has to win the World Cup. I think that'd be a bit too chaotic, but like, let's just say
Senegal.
Yeah, why not? Like Senegal wins or like Japan wins. Why not, man? Like, you know what?
So,
that's the kind of chaos this World Cup deserves.
Jonathan David, you mentioned him, 22 goals for his country, plays for Lille. Alphonso Davies, obviously the star, 22 years old. He's going to play a left back. Do they play 5 at the back or do they play 4 at the back?
I'm not even going to lie to you and say I'm going to look up Canada's team when they beat the U.S. 2-0. I'll do that. Because I'm not going to sit here and say I kept up with Canada during World Cup qualifying.
Fullback and wingback of whatever it is, Alphonso Davies, an electric player. Atiba Hutchinson is their captain. He plays for Besiktas, and he's 39 years old. So that's going to be crazy. If they start a 39-year-old in midfield, it'll be very interesting. And then you mentioned Kyle Larin, 54 appearances for his country, 25 goals, plays for Club Bruges. Do you think Canada's got a chance to get out of this group?
Like, the weird part is, yeah, because, look, like, if Croatia can't score, Belgium can't defend. Morocco fired their coach months before the tournament. And, well, not months before. When did Renard get fired? It was something – he had some sort of beef with or no, who's the Bosnian guy? What's his name?
Yeah, beef with Ziyech, didn't he?
They had the Bosnian coach. They had him for, like, AFCON and stuff. And then he left the post, like, a few months ago. So they brought in a manager that had won, I think, the African Champions League with the Moroccan team. They have a new coach, essentially. So
Walid Regragui.
Yeah, he's the new coach. They had Halilovic, or like I'm butchering his name, guys. They had some random Bosnian guy coaching them, and so
Valid Halilovic. I'm looking it up.
Something like that. Yeah, him Him. He
Vahid.
coached like Morocco. He's coached all kinds of random teams. I'm pretty sure he's coached Shakhtar at some point. Like he's just one of those guys who just coaches everywhere. So he had that beef with Ziyech and a bunch of like issues with the senior players. Ziyech retired. Now he's unretired. Morocco have plenty of talent in their team. Where I worry is just stability and just what they're going to look like. Even at the last World Cup, I thought Morocco in that group with Iran, Spain, and Portugal, Morocco were entertaining.
Very good. They were really good. They just got unlucky.
They couldn't score, and they would find ways to lose these games. It was incredible. I could not believe it. So, like, for me, Morocco are just like a wild card. I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to do well. I could see them pushing. Like, they play Croatia in their opening match.
That's big time.
And that's going to be 2 a.m. Pacific time. Guys, I'm not going to pretend like I'm going to stay up to watch that. I'm going to if I wake up at 5 for whatever game is at 5 and I see Morocco beat Croatia 2-0, I wouldn't be shocked.
I wouldn't be either.
I don't know what to expect from them. They're just a complete wild card. They're exactly what I think of when it's like, they kind of go where the wind blows.
Their recent tournament form in the knockout stage in 2019 African Cup, the year after the World Cup, they lost in penalty kicks to Benin. And then in 2021, they had 7 points and topped their group in that African Cup. They beat Malawi in the round of 16 and then lost in extra time to Egypt, correct? Yeah. But they absolutely destroyed their qualifying group. And I think Africa is really tough to qualify from.
Africa's the hardest nation to qualify out of. They need to change that, by the way.
It's really hard. 6 wins out of 6, 18 points with a 20-1 goal differential. And they beat Mali in the, home and away.
Playoff. I think it was Mali. It might have been.
I'm looking at it. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, you're right. It was DR Congo.
Yeah, it was
DR Congo 5
in the first leg, and then went back to their home stadium and whooped them.
Yeah, 4-1. I mean, they're pretty exciting. Some of the big names for them: Ashraf Hakimi from PSG, 24 years old. Yassine Bounou, the goalie, is from Sevilla. Sofian Amrabat, he's been around for a minute. Fiorentina.
No. His brother was the other one.
Oh, it's the other Amrabat.
He did the VAR as BS thing when they lost to Spain. That was his brother. It's a different one.
Oh, man. And then, good thing you checked me on that. Roman Saiz is the captain, 32 years old from Besiktas. Obviously, everybody knows Hakim Ziyech for Chelsea. It's been a couple weird years for him. Obviously, he helped us win a Champions League, but he hasn't really gotten any found a really consistent form or a consistent place in the team. He's a sub a lot. Sometimes he starts. And then, those are the really big names. Yusuf and Nesri. I don't even know what to say his name. Yusuf and Nesri from Sevilla. Give me your thoughts on some of these guys.
Well, they've probably got Mazraoui and Hakimi as fullbacks. Mm-hmm. You've got Saiz as he was playing right center back in AFCON because I think Naif Aguerd, the guy who transferred to West Ham. So it'll be Aguerd and probably Saiz as center backs, and
Mazraoui is from Bayern Munich.
So Mazraoui, they're going to have 2 left-footed center backs and 2 right-footed fullbacks, but they'll probably move Hakimi to the left-hand side because Hakimi's played left side growing up at Dortmund and played it for Inter as well on occasion. So they're kind of, you don't really see 2 left-footed center backs playing in a team. That's very rare.
It is.
But like I said, with Croatia and with Canada and even with Belgium, your talent pools are limited, so you kind of have to use what you have. So if you look on paper, I actually like Morocco's team.
I know. Pretty good.
I think Amrabat as a holding midfield player is a good player. Amala had a very good AFCON for Morocco. What they're missing is Imran Louza from Watford. He had a great AFCON, but I think he broke his leg in a championship match a month ago.
Damn.
So it was going to be probably Louza, Amala, and Amrabat in midfield. But we'll have to see. Hey, coach, earn your money. But you'll see Ziyech on the right-hand side. You'll probably see Nesiri through the middle. They're missing Harit as well. Harit limped off in Marseille's last Ligue 1 match before the World Cup. So 2 probable starters are not in the team. They're not with the group, so that sucks. Yeah. But I don't think there's a huge talent gap between Canada, Morocco, and Belgium. If you put them Canada, Morocco, or not Belgium, Canada, Morocco, Croatia.
I was about to say, damn.
I don't think the talent, like you would think Croatia will get through the group, but I don't think the talent gap between the teams we see is probably not going to win the group. I don't think it's major. I really don't. So I think this group would be really. I think it'll be really competitive. It'll be the kind of thing where on match day 3, everybody can still go through, and then I would imagine. But Belgium will probably have gone through, but it'll probably be 3 teams fighting for one spot in the last day. So it'll be interesting.
So you think Belgium's going to top the group? I think they're going to top the group.
Yeah, they play Canada first, and then like I could see Morocco and Croatia like drawing with each other. So yes.
Okay, and then so who you got coming out second?
Let me just look at the order of these fixtures. Whoever plays, so I'm gonna say Croatia because Morocco plays Belgium second. I could see it be a thing where Croatia play Belgium when there's nothing on the line for Belgium, and they kind of rest some players, so they'll sneak like a draw or something. And it might be like it'll be one of those. I could see that happening. So yeah, I would say Belgium first, Croatia second.
Croatia definitely have the better fixtures. Keep going.
If Morocco beat Croatia, it's anybody's game.
I think I've been doing something where I'm opposing a little bit of my guests. So I'm gonna go with Morocco finishing second. I want as many African teams in the knockout stage as possible. And honestly, I like Morocco. Because
I would love Morocco to go through. If you're asking what I want just for chaos, Morocco to win the group and Canada to finish second. Just one. And then I want in Group E, I would prefer Japan to go through instead of either Spain or Germany, just to set up some crazy round of 16 tie.
Yeah, why not? It's going to be exciting. Group F. Thanks for coming on, Peter. Any last words?
No problem, guys. Guys, tune into the World Cup. If you are here stateside, I know the kickoff times are kind of whack, but like, what can we do? And remember, guys, this will be the last time we have to deal with this for at least 8 years because the World Cup's here stateside in 2026. So, no, it's been fun. It's been real. I would say go Mexico, Iran, U.S., whatever teams you have a rooting interest in. But I don't know, man. I got to find a team to root for this World Cup. I gotta.
Well, USA.
Nah, because I don't have hopes. I think that entire group is going to be awful.
Come on, man. Iran. There's never been higher expectations for Iran than this.
Yeah, because everybody in that group is like, are we good? Are we not? I don't know.
Exactly. But hey, if my man Eden Hazard takes the pitch, I hope Belgium goes pretty far. But
hey, good luck. I hope Hazard plays. I hope he plays, and I hope he plays well. If he doesn't, I hope they lose.
Fair. I agree with that. All right, Group F. Tell us who you think are going to be coming out of this group in the comments.